Young and the Restless next week. Cole's death stuns and Adam's extreme revenge unleashed. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day before we begin the video. Please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Young and the Restless spoilers for June 30th to July 4th, 2025 see Cole Howard, J. Eddie Peck, being on his deathbed and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, going to extremes to stop a bad thing from happening to his family. We've also got scoop on Kane Ashby's Billy Flynn, Secret Weapon, and Devin Hamilton's Bryton James, Darkest Fears. We've got your latest YNR spoilers for the week of June 30th and some info on holiday preemptions for the CBS soap. The aftermath of the storm, Victor, Nikki, Billy, and the gang's return from France. So, we are wrapping up this week with Victor Newman, Eric Braden, Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and the gang stuck in France because of the storm. But it looks like they're all going to be back home, including Kane next week at some point. So Josh Morrow promised us a murder mystery. He didn't say if it was going to be in Genoa City or in France, but he said it was coming. So we'll see where it manifests. It's looking now like it's going to be back in their hometown. Kane's plan B and Nikki's worries. Chancellor Industries and revenge plots. So, as this week on YNR wraps up, Victor and Nikki are irritated because they can't leave Kane's French estate. And Victor is worried that Kane may have a plan B for getting a hold of Chancellor Industries and that they are being kept there sequestered for a reason. All true. Nikki's worried about Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, still wanting revenge for her, and Victor doing Lily dirty when they snatched Chancellor, but Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, talked them down off that and says no, Lily doesn't want anything to do with Kane. So that's off the table. Not on the roster of concerns. Lily's rejection and retcon dialogue, exploring relationships on Young and the Restless. It is painfully clear Lily despises Kane, and she even kissed Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, at the end of the week to send a clear message to her ex that she's moved on. And actually what's really funny is that they're doing retcon stuff in the dialogue. If you listen on Friday's episode when Kane is talking to Lily about a reconciliation and she's talking about how they are not the young kids they used to be. A what? She was 18 and he was like 30 or 31 when they were getting together. So they're trying to dial it back because Billy Flynn is significantly younger than Daniel Goddard. You know, maybe when he lost that Australian accent, he lost years. But they're definitely trying to restructure history when I think it'd be better if they just didn't mention it instead of contradicting it. Victor's concerns and Phyllis's nonsense. Alliances and opportunities in Genoa City. Anyway, Victor is also worried that Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, might team up with Kane against him, but Nikki thinks Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, is more likely to do that. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, is talking out of her backside, telling the Newmans that she's in on this big opportunity with Kane and how they're going to be working together, blah blah. Typical Phyllis's nonsense. Although, I do think it's going to manifest. It's just that she's making it up right now. Kane also tells both Victor and Nick Newman Joshua Morrow that, he made the offer to buy Chancellor. Victor turned him down, so that's that. It's cool. No problem. They can relax. Not true. Young and the Restless. Kane's real co-conspirator and Adam's discovery. Unveiling the nefarious plan. Meanwhile, next week, Kane is back in Genoa City and meeting with his real co-conspirator, who is not Phyllis. Kane did an end run and he fired Damian and then made a side deal with Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, and he's the one who's been buying up all the real estate around the Newman and Abbott business holdings for some nefarious reason. Kane wanted Holden doing it, so his name's not on it. And Kane is asking Holden next week if anybody suspects what's going on, and he says no, they're in the clear. That's not quite accurate, because Adam has figured out after doing some digging that somebody's buying up all that real estate. He tells Chelsea Lawson Newman, Melissa Claire Egan, he's got to go tell Victor. I don't know if he knows it's Holden or he just suspects it's Damian, because at this point he doesn't know it's Kane because no phone service yada yada. So Adam's got to go tell Victor, because nobody in the Newman family is answering his calls, and that's because of that bad storm and possibly because Kane is jamming cell signals. Young and the Restless spoilers. Cole Howard, Adam Newman. Adam's valiant efforts and Devin's worries. Unraveling Kane's distraction. So, next week, Watch for Adam to basically hike his way through torn-up train tracks that were ravaged by the storm to get to Victor and drop the bombshell about what Kane is doing back in their hometown. By then, though, despite Adam's valiant efforts, it may be too late. We'll see. Next week, before everybody leaves for home, we've also got Devin telling Amanda Sinclair, Miss Hale Morgan, that he's worried Kane is using this big party as a way to distract them from something. That's accurate. Devin is then pumping Kane's lady lawyer for info, but he gets nowhere because Amanda claps back on Devin and says, even if that was the truth, why would I ever tell you? You know, Amanda walked in on Devin banging Abby Newman, Melissa Ordway, in their living room, and Abby's husband Chance Chancellor, Connor Floyd, was with her. So, they both got an eye full. So yeah, Devin's right to be worried because Amanda hates him and has Kane's ear and doesn't like Abby, and you know Kane has given Amanda the means to clap back on him if she wants to. Potential payback and foreshadowing, Kane's revenge and Claire's choice. And if Lily keeps rejecting Kane, as I suspect she will, then you know Kane might take aim at Winters and Chancellor both for payback. I think Amanda would love to take a shot at Devin. Also, we had Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron suffering that panic attack and Holden coming to her rescue this week, and they're doing some bonding, and I think that's foreshadowing who Claire is going to turn to if Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, does a bad thing, and does that bad girl Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, in France. Cole's battle with Legionnaire's disease and holiday preemptions, spoilers and updates for Young and the Restless. So next week we've got more on Claire. She and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, head back to Chicago to see Cole, who is battling Legionnaire's disease. He's happy to see Victoria and Claire again and was afraid they wouldn't make it back in time. What he means by that is he thinks he is dying. Cole is glad that they're there to say goodbye before he kicks the bucket. For the record, out of curiosity, I looked up to see how fatal Legionnaire's disease is. Not very. It's very treatable. It's got like a 90 to 95% survivability rate in somebody Cole's age who's basically healthy. And even among high-risk individuals that are older or have comorbidities, it's like 70 to 80% and the Restless. Cole the victim? So, if Claire's dad kicks the bucket, it would be against the odds. But it's YNR. I'm not entirely sure they know how to spell Google up in the writer's room to check stuff out before they put it in scripts. The one thing I can think of is maybe Cole is our murder mystery victim, and he's been intentionally infected with some terribly virulent strain of something. I don't know why people would pick on Cole, though, because I'm also wondering if Chance is going to be the one to get a dirt nap because Connor Floyd quit YNR. I don't know why they would recast the role of Chance Chancellor because they barely use him anymore in storylines. It seems like that would be kind of a waste of budgetary resources. Young and the Restless. And also, so Friday is July 4th, the Independence Day holiday. It's a complete and total toss-up of whether we get a new or a rerun episode of Young and the Restless. Last year, 2024, it was brand new on July 4th, but most years before that, because I was thinking it wasn't new, that it was typically a rerun, and I dived back in just to double-check, looking at recaps, and sure enough, it's almost always an encore. So, it's very important that you check your DVR, late Friday on Saturday, and if it is a rerun, delete it, or your Monday episode might not record because they encode it with the episode number and the season number. And if you already have one sitting on your DVR with that info, it won't record the next one. It doesn't actually know the content that's aired. It only knows how it was listed in the program guide. Just if you wanted to understand the technicalities of why that happens, because you'll notice if you've got a preemption, a lot of times your next day doesn't record, and that's why. Be sure and check back tomorrow for your full roster of Young and of the Restless spoilers. I'll have dated daily spoilers for the entire week of June 30th through July 4th. And even if they tell us it's a new episode, that doesn't mean that it will be. So check your DVR. Genoa City is bracing itself for one of the most shocking and emotionally charged weeks in recent memory as whispers of Cole Howard's sudden death ripple through the community, leaving everyone reeling. What starts as an ordinary week quickly transforms into a nightmare when devastating news spreads like wildfire, shaking the foundations of families, romances, and rivalries. Cole's unexpected demise doesn't just leave Victoria and Claire shattered. It sets off a chain reaction of fury, heartbreak, and revenge that threatens to consume the entire Newman clan. And in the midst of the chaos, Adam Newman emerges with a level of rage that no one has ever seen before, determined to unleash an extreme form of vengeance that could change everything. Cole's return to Genoa City had been a source of emotional upheaval from the start. His reunion with Victoria and his bond with Claire brought a sense of hope that maybe, after years of turmoil, the fractured family could find some healing. But that hope is abruptly torn away when tragedy strikes without warning. The news of Cole's death hits like a thunderclap. Whether it's a mysterious accident, a sudden health crisis, or something far more sinister, one thing is certain: his passing will send shockwaves through the Newman empire. Victoria, who has endured more heartbreak than most, is left gutted, barely able to process the magnitude of the loss. Claire, still fragile from her difficult past, spirals emotionally as the man who helped anchor her new beginning is ripped away. As the Newman family gathers to process their grief, suspicions begin to swirl. In Genoa City, nothing is ever as simple as it seems, and Cole's death is no exception. Victor, always calculating, immediately begins to question the circumstances. Nikki is thrown into emotional turmoil, struggling to support her family while confronting her own guilt over past choices. Victoria retreats into herself, consumed by a mix of sorrow and unanswered questions. And Adam, already simmering with resentment over his perceived marginalization within the family, sees red. To him, Cole's death isn't just a tragedy, it's a spark that ignites a dangerous fire within. Adam has always operated in the gray areas between justice and vengeance, but this time, his rage is raw and unchecked. Whether he blames someone specific or suspects foul play, Adam's reaction is swift and intense. He begins to dig deep, determined to uncover every detail surrounding Cole's death. His methods are unorthodox, his energy relentless, and his willingness to cross lines absolute. Those who have crossed Adam before know how dangerous he can be when he feels wronged. This time, however, his fury isn't just about himself. It's about avenging a death that hits closer to home than he's willing to admit. The tension escalates when Adam's investigation starts pointing fingers in unexpected directions. Was Cole's death truly accidental, or was someone in Genoa City playing a deadly game? As he peels back the layers, Adam uncovers inconsistencies that only fuel his thirst for retribution. He starts making moves behind the scenes, setting traps and manipulating information to corner those he suspects. His actions become increasingly extreme, alarming even those closest to him. Chelsea, who has seen Adam at his darkest, tries to reach out, sensing that his path could lead to disaster. Nick, ever skeptical of his brother's motives, warns him to back off, but Adam is past the point of reason. Victoria's grief adds another layer of complexity. She's consumed by loss but also haunted by a nagging feeling that something about Cole's death doesn't add up. As she sifts through old memories and recent interactions, doubts creep in. She starts to question whether Cole was targeted, and if so, why. Her fragile emotional state makes her vulnerable, and Adam sees this vulnerability as both a rallying cry and a justification for his actions. He positions himself as the avenger, the one willing to do what the rest of the family won't. His intense focus draws a line in the sand, those who stand with him and those who don't. Meanwhile, the ripple effects spread through Genoa City's power players. Victor's instincts kick into overdrive as he orders his people to investigate quietly. He senses Adam's growing volatility and worries that his son's revenge spree could destabilize the entire Newman empire. Nikki, still trying to keep the family from fracturing, pleads for unity, but her words fall on deaf ears. The Abbott family watches the situation with wary eyes, knowing that any Newman scandal could shift the power balance in their favor or drag them into dangerous territory. Claire's grief threatens to spiral into something darker as well. She idolized Cole for his support and guidance, and his sudden death leaves her feeling unmoored. Her reactions are unpredictable, and those closest to her fear she might make reckless decisions in her emotional state. Her pain, coupled with Adam's rage, forms a volatile emotional storm hovering over the Newman family. As the week unfolds, Adam's quest for revenge grows more extreme. He starts leveraging his business power, digging into private records and cornering individuals who might have information. He uses every resource at his disposal, including Newman Media, to apply pressure. His relentless pursuit puts him on a collision course with Victor, who is forced to choose between protecting his son and controlling the clash promises to be explosive, as Adam refuses to be reined in and Victor refuses to let his empire fall into chaos. The truth about Cole's death begins to surface piece by piece, and it's far more twisted than anyone imagined. Secrets emerge that tie unexpected players to the tragedy, and motives that were long buried are suddenly thrust into the spotlight. Adam's revenge mission brings dark truths into the open, truths that could fracture the Newman family beyond repair. What began as grief evolves into a dangerous game of power, betrayal, and justice. By the end of the week, nothing in Genoa City will be the same. Victoria will be forced to face painful revelations that shake her to her core. Claire will find herself standing at a crossroads, her next choices determining whether she falls apart or rises stronger. And Adam's extreme revenge will either bring justice or unleash consequences so severe that even he may not be able to control them. The stage is set for a high-stakes battle where grief and fury collide, and no one will escape unscathed. The death of Cole Howard will be remembered as the moment Genoa City's fragile alliance is shattered, exposing the raw emotions and dangerous ambitions lurking beneath the surface. As the truth unfolds, the Newmans and their rivals will be forever changed, and Adam Newman's descent into vengeance may mark the beginning of a new, even darker chapter. As the fallout from Cole Howard's death intensifies, Genoa City becomes a pressure cooker of suspicion, emotional breakdowns, and power struggles. The Newman family mansion turns into the epicenter of shock and grief, with Victoria barely able to function. She wanders through the house like a ghost, replaying her final moments with Cole over and over in her mind, grasping for anything she might have missed. The pain in her eyes is unmistakable. This isn't just the loss of an old flame. It's the loss of someone who is helping her piece her life back together. Claire clings to Victoria, her own heartbreak palpable as she grapples with feelings of abandonment and fear that the stability she had found will now unravel completely. Outside those walls, whispers grow louder. Was Cole's death really an accident? Some in Genoa City are convinced it's a tragic coincidence, but others believe there's far more beneath the surface. A few key witnesses come forward with unsettling details that don't quite add up. A car that was seen leaving the scene too quickly. A missing phone call that should have happened but didn't. A strange gap in the timeline of events. Victor Newman, sensing that something is deeply wrong, wastes no time dispatching his most trusted associates to quietly gather information. He's not about to let any stone remain unturned, especially if his family is being targeted. Meanwhile, Adam becomes increasingly unhinged as he digs deeper into the circumstances surrounding Cole's death. His obsession grows by the hour. He barely eats, barely sleeps, consumed entirely by the need to uncover the truth and make someone pay. His intensity frightens Chelsea, who has seen this side of him before and knows how dangerous it can be when Adam's thirst for revenge takes over. She tries to talk him down, reminding him that grief can twist perceptions, but Adam's mind is set. He tells her, with a chilling calmness, that this isn't about perception, it's about justice. Nick, ever the voice of reason in the Newman family, steps in to confront Adam, accusing him of exploiting a tragedy to fuel his own vendetta. The brothers clash in a heated confrontation that exposes old wounds. Adam accuses Nick of always playing the hero, while treating him like a villain. Nick counters that Adam always chooses the path of destruction, dragging everyone else down with him. Their argument leaves both men seething, neither willing to back down. As tensions rise, the media catches wind of Cole's death, and speculation runs rampant. Reporters swarm outside Newman Enterprises and the ranch, trying to piece together a timeline. Newman Media itself becomes both a weapon and a battlefield. Adam begins using his position to control the narrative, pushing stories that hint at foul play and quietly leaking information that serves his agenda. His calculated moves put pressure on law enforcement and potential suspects alike. But this approach also puts him directly at odds with Victor, who values discretion and control above all else. Victor warns Adam to tread carefully, but Adam refuses to be silenced. In a move that shocks everyone, Adam publicly announces a massive reward for any information related to Cole's death, bypassing family discussions entirely. The press conference is fiery and emotional, with Adam vowing to hunt down whoever is responsible. His speech electrifies the public and makes headlines, but behind closed doors, it creates chaos. Victor sees it as reckless. Nikki sees it as dangerous. Victoria sees it as both a comfort and a threat. Adam's loyalty to the family is clear, but his methods could spiral everything out of control. Claire's grief takes a concerning turn when she isolates herself, withdrawing from the very people who could help her. She starts poring over her own memories, convinced she saw or heard something that could be important, but can't quite piece it together. Her emotional fragility worries Victoria, who fears that Claire might lash out or make a desperate move. But Claire isn't the only one struggling. Victoria's own sense of reality begins to fray. She starts to question everyone around her, wondering who she can truly trust. The investigation gains traction when Victor's team uncovers inconsistencies in witness statements and surveillance footage. Someone seems to be tampering with evidence, trying to cover their tracks. That's all Adam needs to escalate his crusade. He starts targeting individuals who might have had a motive to harm Cole, from corporate rivals to personal enemies. He corners people in backrooms, makes veiled threats, and even leverages old debts to squeeze information out of sources. His approach is ruthless, and even his allies begin to question whether he's seeking justice or simply indulging his darker impulses. Jack Abbott, always wary of Newman family drama spilling over, begins keeping a closer eye on the situation. He knows that any scandal involving the Newmans can have ripple effects across Genoa City's business landscape. Billy, meanwhile, finds himself oddly intrigued by Adam's fury. Part of him sees it as reckless, but another part wonders if Adam might actually be onto something. Their uneasy conversations hint at a potential temporary alliance, though neither man fully trusts the other. Victor grows increasingly concerned that Adam's campaign could backfire spectacularly. He meets privately with Victoria, urging her to keep her focus on healing and leave the investigation to him. But Victoria, too, has questions that demand answers. She can't shake the feeling that Cole's death was meant to send a message, and if that's true, the Newman family could be in more danger than they realize. By the end of the week, new evidence surfaces that changes everything. A piece of forensic information, previously overlooked, suddenly points toward foul play in a way that can't be ignored. It's enough to validate Adam's suspicions, but not enough to identify the culprit. The revelation sets off a firestorm within the family as tempers flare and trust erodes further. Adam, vindicated in his belief that this was no accident, swearing that he'll bring the truth to light no matter what it costs. As the investigation into Cole Howard's shocking death reaches a fever pitch, Genoa City becomes a city on edge. Every conversation seems to carry an undercurrent of suspicion, and every familiar face could be hiding secrets. At Newman Enterprises, tension is palpable in the boardroom. Victor sits at the head of the table like a general preparing for battle, his steely gaze locking on each family member in turn. He senses that this isn't just about mourning a loss. This is about protecting the Newman legacy from an unseen threat. Nikki tries to maintain a calm front, but her hands tremble as she clutches her coffee cup, haunted by memories of past tragedies that nearly destroyed them. Victoria struggles to keep her composure in meetings, but her mind is elsewhere. She's consumed by grief and the gnawing feeling that Cole's death wasn't random. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees his face, hears his voice, and wonders if there was something she could have done differently. Her guilt festers, morphing into determination. She quietly begins her own investigation, pulling files, questioning employees, and retracing Cole's final days. What she uncovers shocks her, a pattern of strange communications in the days leading up to his death. Someone was watching him closely, someone who may have wanted him gone. Meanwhile, Adam continues his relentless crusade for revenge. His methods grow bolder, skirting the edges of legality. He confronts witnesses directly, pushes people into corners, and manipulates the press to keep the story in the spotlight. His anger is no longer just simmering beneath the surface. It's explosive. He's done playing by anyone else's rules, and his single-minded focus makes even his closest allies uneasy. Chelsea tries once more to intervene, pleading with him to slow down before he crosses a line he can't come back from. Adam listens, but the glint in his eyes says it all. He's far past the point of caution. Nick, caught between loyalty to his family and his mistrust of Adam's motives, becomes a reluctant peacekeeper. He tries to shield Victoria from Adam's intensity, fearing that his brother's obsession could worsen her fragile emotional state. Their confrontations grow sharper, their differences more pronounced. Nick sees Adam's actions as reckless and self-serving, while Adam sees Nick as blind and complacent. The clash between the brothers isn't just about Cole's death, it's about years of resentment boiling over in the worst possible moment. Claire, isolated and overwhelmed, finds herself spiraling emotionally. She clings to mementos of Cole, replaying their conversations in her mind, desperate to hold onto the sense of belonging he gave her. She starts remembering fragments from the day of his death, little things that didn't make sense at the time. A strange car parked down the street. A man watching from a distance. A conversation Cole had on the phone that left him visibly shaken. These fragments start forming a picture, but Claire is terrified of what that picture might reveal. Her fear makes her withdraw even further, worrying those who care about her. Victor's investigation turns up a bombshell, financial records showing unexpected transactions tied to someone close to the Newman orbit. The money trail points to a shell company that may have been used to pay off someone involved in Cole's death. It's not enough for an arrest, but it's enough to convince Victor that this was no accident. He shares the information with Victoria, and the two vow to uncover the truth together. However, they make the calculated decision to keep Adam out of the loop for now, fearing that his unpredictable behavior could jeopardize their strategy. Of course, Adam finds out anyway. When he learns that Victor and Victoria have been holding back evidence, his fury explodes. He storms into Newman Enterprises, slamming open doors and demanding answers. The confrontation is fierce. Accusations fly, voices rise, and old wounds are reopened. Adam feels betrayed once again, convinced that the family will always shut him out when it matters most. Victor, in turn, accuses Adam of acting like a loose cannon who can't be trusted. The showdown ends with Adam storming out, vowing to conduct his own investigation his way. Outside of the Newman family, the reverberations of Cole's death continue to spread. Jack Abbott keeps a careful eye on the situation, recognizing that Newman instability could shift the corporate landscape in Genoa City. Billy senses an opportunity to stir the pot, but is conflicted by his growing curiosity about the truth. He finds himself reluctantly drawn into Adam's orbit, even as he tries to maintain a safe distance. Meanwhile, Chancellor Winter's executives watch warily, knowing that if the Newmans implode, it could create ripple effects across every major power player in town. The police investigation takes a dramatic turn when previously overlooked security footage surfaces. It shows Cole on the night of his death meeting someone at a secluded location, a figure whose face isn't fully visible. The footage is grainy, but Adam immediately seizes on it as proof that foul play was involved. He leaks a portion of the video to the press, triggering a media firestorm. The leak infuriates Victor and Nikki, who wanted to handle the information quietly, but Adam doesn't care. He wants the world to know that someone is responsible, and he's coming for them. Victoria's emotional state teeters between devastation and determination. She visits Cole's favorite places, talks to people who saw him in his final days, and starts piecing together a timeline that suggests he stumbled upon something dangerous. Her instincts tell her that Cole's death wasn't just personal, it was tied to something much bigger. Her heart aches, but beneath the sorrow burns a growing resolve. If someone took Cole from her, they will pay dearly. By the end of the week, new leads emerge that point toward a shadowy figure with ties to both business and personal vendettas. The puzzle is far from complete, but the picture is becoming clearer. Cole Howard's death was no accident. Adam's extreme revenge mission is gaining momentum, Victor's strategy is tightening, and Victoria's grief is transforming into a quiet, steely determination. Genoa City stands on the edge of a storm that could tear families apart and expose long-buried secrets. The stage is set for explosive confrontations, shocking revelations, and a level of emotional upheaval the Newman family hasn't faced in years. Adam is ready to unleash his fury. Victor is ready to protect his empire at any cost. Victoria is ready to find the truth, no matter how painful it may be. And somewhere out there, the person responsible for Cole's death is watching it all unfold, knowing their time is running out. The city holds its collective breath as Adam's extreme revenge strategy begins to take shape, sending shockwaves across Genoa City. No one is safe. Friends, family, colleagues, and even long-standing rivals find themselves caught in the crossfire of his relentless pursuit. Adam's moves are calculated yet unpredictable, each action designed to expose lies, unearth secrets, and punish those he believes are responsible for Cole's death. He operates with a single-minded focus, a predator in a city full of prey, and everyone around him begins to feel the tension. Still reeling from Cole's loss, becomes a crucial ally in Adam's mission, even if she doesn't fully trust his methods. Together, they begin connecting dots that have eluded the police and private investigators alike. Victoria's intuition combined with Adam's ruthless drive uncovers a trail of financial transactions, cryptic messages, and suspicious meetings that paint a grim picture. Cole's death was orchestrated, and the person behind it has been manipulating events in Genoa City for years. Meanwhile, Victor struggles to maintain control over the chaos. He finds himself torn between his instinct to protect his family and the reality that Adam's obsession might reveal truths that could be devastating for Newman Enterprises. The tension between father and son escalates daily, reaching a point where even longtime allies feel uneasy about being caught in the middle. Nikki attempts to mediate, pleading with both men to find a way to work together, but her words fall on deaf ears. Adam is too consumed by vengeance, and Victor is too driven by the need to maintain authority. Claire's role grows more significant as she starts recalling details from Cole's final days that even Victoria had missed. She pieces together subtle hints, a misplaced phone, a hurried message, an overlooked security check, that start forming a larger picture of the danger Cole had been facing. Her discoveries add fuel to Adam's fire, and soon the two of them are operating almost as a single force, pushing their investigation forward while keeping one step ahead of anyone who might want to stop them. The city begins to take notice of the tension. Media outlets pick up the story of Cole's mysterious death, amplifying rumors and speculations that only heighten the sense of fear and unease. Newman Media, under Adam's control, strategically leaks selective information to manipulate public perception and apply pressure on those involved. The leaks are calculated to unsettle suspects, stir gossip, and create panic, all while keeping Adam's hands clean in the eyes of the public. Victor, realizing he can't control the situation through conventional means, starts covertly assembling a team to investigate Adam's actions and anticipate his next moves. He knows that if Adam goes too far, the fallout could destroy the family's legacy and destabilize the company. Yet, Victor also understands that Adam's relentless pursuit of the truth might be the only way to uncover the full extent of Cole's death and hold the real culprit accountable. It's a delicate balance between guiding and restraining his son, one that tests Victor's patience and judgment like never before. At the same time, tensions rise among the wider Newman and Abbott circles. Jack Abbott watches the Newman family's unraveling with keen interest, knowing that instability within the Newmans could alter the city's power dynamics in his favor. Billy Abbott, caught between siding with family loyalty and his own ambitions, carefully navigates the unfolding chaos, unsure whether to intervene or wait and see where the storm leads. Devin and Lily, observing from Chancellor Winters, sense the danger of Adam's unbridled vendetta, but are powerless to intervene without putting themselves at risk. As Adam closes in on the truth, he begins executing moves that are as shocking as they are calculated. He confronts associates linked to the shell company, leveraging threats and intimidation to force cooperation. Secrets long buried come to light, hidden dealings, betrayals, and acts of manipulation that span years. Each revelation adds fuel to the fire, bringing Adam closer to identifying the individual or group responsible for Cole's death. Victoria, now fully invested in uncovering the truth, begins compiling evidence herself. Her grief transforms into resolve, and she starts coordinating with Adam on strategy, offering insight into Cole's routines, his contacts, and his last known movements. Together, they form a formidable team, combining emotional insight with tactical cunning. But the partnership is volatile. Adam's unfiltered aggression clashes with Victoria's careful planning, creating sparks that could ignite at any moment. By midweek, the investigation reaches a critical turning point. Adam receives a tip that leads him to a previously overlooked location tied to Cole's final days. The discovery shocks him, evidence suggesting that Cole may have been betrayed by someone closer than anyone expected. This revelation sends a ripple through Adam's psyche, transforming his grief-driven mission into a burning personal vendetta. He vows that whoever orchestrated Cole's death will pay in full. Meanwhile, Genoa City's social circles feel the tension mounting. Parties and corporate events are tinged with unease, as everyone senses the undercurrent of danger. Conversations are hushed, and longtime allies watch each other warily. In private, some fear that Adam's path could destabilize the city itself. Others see opportunity, waiting for the chaos to tip in their favor. By the end of the week, the stage is set for a dramatic showdown. Adam has positioned himself to confront the true mastermind behind Cole's death, armed with proof, strategy, and an unrelenting will for vengeance. Victoria is by his side, emotionally charged and determined to honor Cole's memory. Victor, Nikki, and the rest of the Newman family brace for the fallout, knowing that Adam's reckoning could either bring justice or consume them all. Genoa City teeters on the edge, and the question hanging over everyone's head is simple yet terrifying. Will Adam's extreme revenge finally uncover the truth, or will it ignite a chain reaction that no one can survive? The answers will come soon, and no one will emerge unchanged. The days following the explosive discoveries surrounding Cole's death plunged Genoa City into an atmosphere so thick with tension it seems to cling to every conversation, every sideways glance, every whispered word. The Newman family, once united in grief, now finds itself fractured by mistrust and conflicting agendas. At the ranch, Victoria sits alone in Cole's study, surrounded by his books and notes, desperately searching for anything that could explain his final days. Her fingers trace the spine of a journal he kept, and within its pages she finds cryptic references, snippets of conversations, strange phone numbers, and mentions of a deal that made him uneasy. Each clue tightens the knot in her stomach. Cole had stumbled into something dangerous, and she is determined to follow the thread no matter where it leads. Meanwhile, Adam intensifies his pursuit of vengeance, taking his investigation into dark, dangerous corners of Genoa City. He starts making late-night visits to contacts who owe him favors, digging through black market channels, bribing informants, and manipulating underworld figures to get answers faster than the police ever could. His behavior alarms those closest to him. Chelsea pleads with him to stop before he destroys himself in the process, but Adam has crossed that invisible line between justice and obsession. He's not just hunting for the truth anymore. He's preparing to clash with Adam, trying to pull Victoria back from the brink while also keeping his brother from detonating a powder keg. Their relationship deteriorates by the day. Nick's attempts to keep things rational only fuel Adam's sense of isolation and betrayal. Their heated arguments echo through Newman Enterprises like warning shots, signaling that the family's internal conflict is spiraling out of control. Nikki watches in quiet despair, torn between her children and her loyalty to Victor, who is growing increasingly furious at Adam's rogue tactics. Victor, meanwhile, takes decisive steps behind the scenes. His investigators uncover more about the shell company tied to the mysterious payments. It leads to a foreign entity with hidden connections to a figure who once had dealings with Newman Enterprises years ago, a figure with a grudge. Victor suspects that Cole may have uncovered something about a long-buried business deal gone wrong, making him a target. But before he can fully confirm this theory, Adam beats him to the punch. Through his own methods, Adam identifies a name, a powerful but shadowy individual known in certain circles for making problems disappear. Adam doesn't bring this information to the family. He sets a trap. Using his Newman media resources, he arranges a fake meeting designed to lure this mysterious figure, or at least one of their associates, out of the shadows. The move is dangerous, reckless, and entirely Adam. He's convinced that once he has undeniable proof, he'll be able to deliver the kind of justice no courtroom could. But in doing so, he puts himself in the crosshairs of people far more dangerous than he realizes. Victoria's grief transforms further into a steely determination. She confronts old allies and adversaries, demanding answers about Cole's activities in his final days. One of Cole's colleagues reluctantly admits that he'd been receiving threats but refused to involve the police, fearing it would escalate the situation. Victoria's heart shatters anew as she realizes Cole was protecting her and Claire from something bigger than either of them knew. She vows to pick up where he left off, no matter how painful the journey. Claire, struggling under the weight of her memories, experiences a breakthrough. She remembers a key moment, a mysterious man who approached Cole at a cafe a few days before his death, passing him an envelope and walking away. She shares this with Victoria, and together they track down security footage confirming the encounter. The footage shows Cole's startled reaction upon opening the envelope, but the contents remain a mystery. This revelation strengthens Victoria's resolve, but also draws her deeper into Adam's orbit, as their investigations start to overlap. Victor and Adam's inevitable confrontation reaches a boiling point when Victor discovers Adam's trap. He storms into Adam's office, furious that his son has risked not only his own life, but also the family's stability. Their argument is volcanic, years of unresolved resentment exploding to the surface. Adam accuses Victor of always underestimating him, of never treating him as a true son. Victor counters that Adam's reckless pride has always been his undoing. Neither man backs down. The chasm between father and son grows wider, setting the stage for a Newman civil war. As the week builds to its climax, the trap Adam sets works, but not in the way he expects. Instead of getting answers, he finds himself face-to-face with a dangerous intermediary who issues a chilling warning: stop digging, or the body count will rise. Adam doesn't flinch. He tells them that they've already taken someone he cared about, and now he's coming for them. The encounter solidifies his path. There's no turning back. Victoria uncovers more from Cole's journal that connects the mysterious payments to an overseas shell corporation with hidden ties to Newman Enterprises' old rivalries. She realizes the scope of the danger therein. Cole's death wasn't personal, it was strategic. He knew too much, and someone made sure he was silenced. By the end of the week, the threads begin to converge. Victor's investigators close in on a suspect. Victoria gains new clarity about Cole's final mission. Claire begins to regain her strength, determined to honor Cole's memory by helping uncover the truth. And Adam, now more dangerous than ever, positions himself to strike back in a way that could either bring justice or plunge Genoa City into chaos. The storm is no longer brewing, it's here. Cole's death has become the catalyst for a battle that will test every bond, expose every weakness, and push the Newman family to their breaking point. And as the shadows close in, the line between vengeance and justice blurs until it's almost impossible to tell them apart. Genoa City teeters on the edge. The consequences of Cole Howard's death continue to ripple through every corner of the community. Adam Newman, fully consumed by his quest for vengeance, accelerates his campaign, leaving a trail of fear and suspicion in his wake. His actions are no longer reactionary. They are proactive, surgical strikes aimed at destabilizing those he believes are responsible. Each step Adam takes is deliberate, each move calculated to provoke a response, and every player in the city begins to feel the tremors of his fury. Victoria's grief, once raw and immobilizing, has evolved into steely determination. She combs through Cole's past correspondences, scrutinizes his meetings, and revisits locations tied to his final days. Her discoveries reveal connections that shock her. Business dealings that were far murkier than she realized, secret alliances that Cole had unearthed, and threats he had kept hidden to protect those he cared about. These revelations reinforce her belief that Cole's death was not an accident, and her resolve to see justice done becomes intertwined with Adam's vengeance, even as she fears how far he may go. Victor, meanwhile, is walking a tightrope. He's forced to balance the need to protect his family with the necessity of uncovering the truth before Adam's extreme measures spiral out of control. He quietly mobilizes his most trusted allies, ensuring surveillance, security, and intelligence are in place to anticipate any fallout. But even Victor, a man accustomed to control, senses that Adam's wrath may be beyond containment. He watches as his son becomes increasingly ruthless, each step pushing him closer to crossing a line that may not have a return. The city itself is buzzing with speculation. Media outlets, tipped off by strategic leaks from Newman Media, circulate rumors that point to foul play, sparking whispers of a conspiracy that implicates major players in Genoa City's elite. The public, captivated and fearful, watches as events unfold like a real-life thriller. The combination of grief, mystery, and Adam's escalating action sends shockwaves through corporate offices, high society circles, and even casual social gatherings, leaving everyone questioning who can be trusted. Claire's involvement grows critical. Piecing together fragments of memory, she recalls interactions with Cole that now seem suspicious in hindsight: a hurried phone call, an unusual visitor, a cryptic message. Her observations provide crucial leads, and she begins coordinating with Victoria, reinforcing the investigation with details only someone intimately connected to Cole could provide. Her courage and determination become a stabilizing force for Victoria, even as the shadow of grief continues to loom over them both. As Adam closes in, the confrontation with the central figure behind Cole's death becomes inevitable. The meeting is fraught with tension, a battle of wills that exposes long-hidden motives and secret resentments. Adam, fueled by loss and a sense of righteous fury, delivers a warning as chilling as it is resolute. He will stop at nothing to ensure justice is served. The adversary, caught off guard by the intensity and precision of Adam's approach, realizes too late that Adam's grief has been transmuted into a weapon far deadlier than anyone anticipated. Victor, recognizing the volatility of the situation, attempts to rein in the damage. He confronts Adam in a private showdown, pleading for caution while simultaneously understanding that Adam may be the only one capable of uncovering the truth. Their clash is electric, a mixture of familial loyalty, suppressed anger, and unspoken regrets. Nikki, witnessing the escalating tension, fears that the family may fracture irreparably if Adam's campaign is not carefully managed. Outside the Newman sphere, other players in Genoa City react with caution and opportunism. Jack Abbott observes the chaos with calculating interest, aware that instability within the Newman family could alter the city's balance of power. Billy Abbott navigates his own moral compass, torn between curiosity about the unfolding truth and the potential risks of involving himself. Devin and Lily watch closely, recognizing that Adam's wrath could spill over into their own corporate and personal interests. By the week's end, Adam has positioned himself for a decisive confrontation. Evidence, corroborated by Victoria and supplemented by Claire's insights, points squarely to the orchestrator of Cole's death. The confrontation is set against the backdrop of a city on edge, with every Newman family member and key Genoa City player bracing for the fallout. Adam's extreme revenge, once merely a personal crusade, now carries the weight of exposing long-buried secrets and dismantling the structures that allowed tragedy to occur. Genoa City stands at a crossroads. The culmination of grief, fury, and revelation promises a week of explosive drama that will redefine alliances, test loyalties, and leave no one untouched. Adam Newman's wrath has become a force of nature, unstoppable, unrelenting, and poised to deliver a reckoning that will forever alter the lives of those connected to Cole Howard's untimely death. The city waits, tense and breathless, for the moment when vengeance and justice collide.